Shit, why don't we do Robot 1 first? That way I can finally hit my talking points. It's also really good ordering because, like, I've brought up within the past 30 minutes how I feel some sympathy for Gideon, but not enough to justify how much of a monster he becomes. I mean, it fits with the themes of the story. In fact, that actually ties into the talking points that I want to talk about, which we won't get to yet. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you with them. Not going to get there yet. We got to start killing robots first. But, oh shit, okay. Boar does not want to go down here. Wait. Boar wants to go down here after all. Thank you, Mr. Boar. I don't know. Gideon's arc fits with the themes of the game very well. However, he's also a shit kid. And I'm not sorry about saying it. So with that in mind, it's good to get this one out of the way first, because now we end on Airy and Facade back-to-back, which are two very emotionally heavy storylines, which will set us up nice for our wonderful, fine, happy conclusion where everyone will live happily ever after, just like in the first two endings. Actually, I guess once you get to ending B, that's when it reveals that Emil lives, so... Like, Weiss it's implied that Weiss dies or fades away or becomes one with the universe. And then, you know, Shadowlord and Gestalt Yonah both die, which is, particularly in the second ending frame, is much sadder. And you realize all the other shades... Shit, I did it again! God damn it! I gotta go to my fucking mailbox first so that Gideon can tell me that he wants me to actually come talk to him. God damn it! That's smarts. That's smarts, man. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that ending B is a lot sadder in a lot of other contexts because you find out more about how a lot of the shades are sympathetic, but again, ending A and ending B could be interpreted as both happening at once. Nobody dies in ending... Well, I guess we get confirmation that the King of Facade also dies, which we don't know for sure in ending A. But for the most part... Yeah, I guess it's kind of a King for Emil exchange, because I was going to say, no one dies in ending B that didn't already die in ending A, but we get confirmation that King dies, and then confirmation that Emil lives, so that actually evens out in the end, I suppose. So forget I said that. Let's go check our fucking mail, I guess. It's gonna be really funny if we get there and it's like, nope, not ready yet, and then we have to go do one of the other quests instead. Yeah, I bet. Thanks, man. Okay. Honestly, in Act 2, Junkheap really needs one big ladder where you just climb it once. Having to go back and forth across multiple ladders makes this so tedious and time-consuming in a not fun way. The Junkheap is maybe Yeah, I don't think this is very controversial. I mean, I think Facade is the only contender. Junkie is my least favorite location to get to in the game. And Facade makes up for it by being awesome on its own, whereas Junkheap is mechanically not particularly fun. The Robot Factory is not, you know, an incredible dungeon. Not when you've got the Sunken Temple, or I keep forgetting, is it Sunken Temple or Barren Temple? It's one of those two, I think. Anyways, that one's cooler than this one. And, the story's good, but it's not as good as Facade story. So, yeah. Junkheap, low tier. Not as bad as the Airy. Fuck the Airy. I mean, Airy has some really, really juicy story bits that I really love, but in terms of, like, if this was a real-life location, fuck the Airy. They're all racist. They don't deserve genocide, but they're not good people. So if I had to rank them, they're at the bottom.
Hey there.
Thank you.
You know...
Anyways.
I need to...
Yeah?
I want you.
Well, that's a wrap.
It's my mission. I don't care about
What?
the ones in the mountain.
Your brother was killed?
Yes.
And what? It's killed.
It's kill it time. Alright, I think we're probably going to get... Actually, wait, that's the weird thing is we don't, right? The one aspect of this storyline that I was bummed by in Route B is that I think we've gotten all of our Khalil cutscenes until we finally fight him. I don't think there's any more that show up in this section. But with that in mind, that means we can talk about Discourse. And by that I mean I'm going to keep pushing it off just to tease you. I want to get down to this level, look at the map, make sure I know exactly which way I'm going, and then we'll chat. Ooh, but I have... My opening line is something I've written down because I'm going to use it in another context so I can double check what it actually is.
The elder brother postponed his joy for the sake of his sibling. Didn't think he was ever truly happy. He was able to help shape the life of his brother. I'm sure that was rewarding.
I don't even remember that dialogue. I'm sure it happened, but... Alright, my opening line for our talking point. If I had a nickel for every time I completed a piece of media within the past week, but the piece of media came out originally in 2010, and the piece of media used a medieval fantasy setting to tell an allegory about American post 9/11 jingoism and ultranationalism, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's absurdly surreal that it's happened twice. The other one I'm referring to is, and the reason I wrote this down is because I'm in a podcast. It's all about this. Just finished Way of Kings, Brandon Sanderson's book, which I think is probably less inclined to be a one-to-one parallel, but oh boy, that story is definitely also about a big... This is the right direction, right? Yes. A big militaristic nation having what appears to be unprompted terrorist attack against them, and they react by invading the enemy territory and occupying it for multiple years and not really making any progress in terms of fixing any problems or anything, but weirdly there's resources over here in this desert region that give us a lot of money. So maybe, you know, just conveniently, we should stick around for longer than we said we would and really go overboard with trying to kill a bunch of people who we're labeling as the enemy without giving any thought as to how many of them may have even been you know, on board with the initial attack that made us come here in the first place? Are we even punishing the correct people? Does it really matter? We're feeding the military-industrial complex, and that's good for the economy, so let's keep doing it. So, if that wasn't intentional on Brandon Sanderson's part, that's almost wild, because it really feels like it is. And yeah, weirdly enough, that book came out the same year NieR did, and this one I do not have to speculate, because unless the internet lied to me, and the internet never does, Yoko Taro's gone directly on record saying that the themes of revenge against the Shades are particularly directly inspired by Yoko Taro wondering, hey, what causes a person or a group of people to go that batshit obsessed with vengeance and justice in order to right a wrong, that they essentially go so overboard that they're willing to just kill everyone on the quote-unquote enemy side without thought and without considering who's getting caught up in the crossfire, if that's really the right thing to do, is this a proportional response. Not thinking about any of that because, hey, they struck first, so we have the right to do whatever we want to them. That was, again, according to the internet, Yoko Taro has directly said, yeah, that's intentionally the inspiration for a lot of the story. And so I think I brought it up. It's brought multiple times in the loading screens that NieR's birthday is September 11th, and I mentioned at the time, I wonder if that was intentional. The whole Yoko Taro was directly inspired by inspired is a weird word to use for that, but directly influenced when creating the story by post 9/11 America. I have to imagine that making the main character's birthday 9/11 was probably very intentional, but I did not. When I first said that and I first noted that, I didn't know what I just told you about the fact that Yoko Taro has directly said that. I believe this is the right way. So yeah, that's really interesting. I think it is, no allegory is or really should be one-to-one, and I think there's definitely, when you get into, I think you could say politically charged and touchy territory, you have to be very careful. I think, this game does not go overboard with making it one-to-one. It is, Yoko Taro just said, hey, here's something that influenced how I wrote the story, but it's still very much telling a unique story that is not meant to be
heard of a shade living with a machine. What's that about?
One-to-one. And I think it does a pretty decent job of kind of exploring the topic of, like, for that first playthrough, I approached it a little bit facetiously at a few different points. But yeah, in that first playthrough, I think you are meant to just kill all the Shades, interpret them as being super evil because they attack you on sight and they kidnapped your daughter, and not think any more of it. And that's what's so interesting, is that, I think you could. Oof, yeah, we're getting spicy today. But yeah, if we're making a comparison to 9/11, you could argue that U.S. military has done so many other things that saying 9/11 was completely unprompted is not taking into account the historical context of everything happening. But I think we can, at the very least, agree that as a terrorist attack, 9/11 was a bad thing. Can we agree on that? I'm pretty sure we can still agree on that. And then I think the more controversial take, but I think is becoming more and more accepted as a viewpoint, and it is one that I agree with, is 9/11, definitely bad. The 20 or so years of sending our troops over to the Middle East in purported direct response to 9/11, also bad. I think we may have went overboard there. I think we may have gone too far in some places, as George Lucas would say. And I think NieR does a very good job exploring that of, yeah, Shadowlord does definitely break in and just kidnap your daughter. And that's fucked up. And the giant shade, when that happens, destroys a lot of the town, kills a lot of people. That's bad. And yeah, it is, I think, natural to want to fight back against that, and strike back, and get back at the Shadowlord. But in the process, the characters, and in the first playthrough, I think many players very much go, yeah, all of the shades are in on this, and you don't give a lot of thought to the idea that no, it's probably not that simple. It's probably not. We're probably not exacting a lot of direct justice by killing this small shade hanging out with a robot. That's probably not actually, karmic justice for getting our daughter back. We're doing it because it makes us feel good, and we don't want to think about the idea that maybe there's innocent people getting caught up in the crossfire. I think the game really does work those themes in pretty effectively, and I think that's kind of neat. And I think it's also, I'd say the same thing about Way of Kings. NieR, I think, probably has a little can I don't want to say get away with it a little bit more, but is able to have a little bit of distance because it was a Japanese developed project.
This thing can transform.
2010 feels pretty early to be having the hot take of America's response to 9/11 was too much. I feel like 2010 we were all still very the mainstream. I mean, I grew up in Texas, so that might also affect things in terms of how I interpreted what was going on around me. But to my understanding, 2010 was still very much a year like that. That was still in the region of time of we're exacting justice on the people who hurt us. And I feel like it wasn't until, I want to say, around 2015 that I really started, I mean, that's when I went to college, so maybe this is a Texas thing, I don't know. But I feel like, in my own experience, it wasn't until like 2015 or so, like 5 more years, that people really started examining, this ain't great. We really shouldn't still be doing shit like this. And we probably should have not have been doing it for quite some time before this. So, I don't know. I think it's a little based to have this game examine those themes in 2010, and for Yoko Taro to directly go on record and say, "Yeah, I'm talking about post 9/11 America here. That's what this is." I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's really. It is a recent enough thing that I think a lot of people are nervous to talk about it, but I think Boss of the Junk Heap, I did look up some of the achievements. I think I get a lot of... This part does not make me feel good about what I'm about to say. I get a lot of achievements if I defeat bosses quickly enough. That's part of the gimmick. Which I'll probably rack up a couple in here because I'm not worried about missing dialogue this time around.
Khalil, together, BP alone, BP.
You stupid Miss! Why did you have to?
Beautiful. What a perfect example of humanity.
This particular line made me realize something, and I'm curious if I should say anything about it yet. I won't. But the specific... it's weird. The specific delivery of that line reminded me of something I have heard from something else. And I'll sit on that for as long as I feel like I should.
He's dead. Just wait. I'll make terrible weapons.
Yeah.
Feels weird to me that Khalil's body does not disappear. I don't know. I don't know how to interpret that. Maybe he lived. P-33, definitely dead. One of those two needs to die for that storyline to have any impact at all.
This is hardly the happy ending I was expecting.
But Khalil fully does not disappear there. So...
He doesn't know any other way.
And Gideon apparently is not very focused on destroying it.
Revenge
Him.
is a fool's errand.
Really should not be calling Shades it's at this point of the game.
I know.
Anyways, let's go talk to Popola. But yeah, I think there have been a good amount of movies, and definitely books, that have explored it. But a lot of the books are very direct. I'm thinking about Reluctant Fundamentalist, which I had to read for school. Hot take, that book's not actually great. I don't think that book is very good. But it does examine I think, an underrepresented viewpoint, and I think at the time it came out, it was particularly underrepresented, which is being Muslim in America directly after 9/11. Obviously, xenophobia was very much on the rise at that point in time, and that's part of what I've just been talking about, is having used the word xenophobia directly up until now, but that ties very much into the themes of, are we actually hurting the right people, if we should be hurting anyone at all? Yeah, I don't know. It's really it's interesting. And then you also get, I don't know, it's really interesting because something I have never really thought about. Again, I grew up in Texas, and then by the time I got to college, I don't know, we weren't having deep discussions about this particular topic all that much. So I had just never really thought about it all that much. But this is gonna, I don't know, we're getting spicy today. I'm going all in. I imagine most of the people who work for a lot of terrorist cells in the Middle East and are very anti-American probably were not, directly involved in the decision of 9/11, or perhaps were even involved in it, or perhaps were even fucking alive when it happened. And realizing that, in the same way that I have become, I would say, more disillusioned with my own country over the past 10 years or so, the fact that we just stay in the Middle East and we still keep fucking around with everything, definitely, that does lead into more and more people in the Middle East are going to be really resentful of America. So, I don't know, it's... cycles of vengeance are real, man, and it sucks, and they're hard to break. They're really fucking hard to break. And I don't know. I don't have any good answers. If there were any easy answers, people would have come up with them by now. So, yeah, I don't know. It's heavy, man. It's heavy, but I think it's worth talking about. Rather than just saying, it's heavy, there's nothing to be done about it, let's leave it at that. It's no, it is definitely worthwhile to examine and think about and talk about why things happen the way they do. Perhaps ponder ways of approaching topics that might in the end lead to change. But there's no quick, easy answer. I think that's very obvious. I don't think that's a hot take. Whew, there's a reason I was waiting to open up this can of worms until there was a good time for it. I didn't think I'd get that far into it. But yeah, man, it's interesting to think about. And yes, the reason I brought up the how and why are people still getting radicalized to be anti-American terrorists, it's because the Americans keep being not great. You can read that the same way as, the wolf shade has no say over what happened to Yonah, but humans kept fucking up the wolves. And so the wolf shade said, hey, that needs to stop. I gotta do something about this. I'll do this. And he does something that is ill-advised because we like Fira, and Fira is innocent and didn't do anything wrong. But when both sides of a conflict are just refuse to ever talk with each other or come to any kind of agreement or compromise, it leads to innocent people getting hurt on both sides. It's fucked up. It's not great. Cycles of vengeance, fucked up. Cycles of vengeance, bad. And I think, even though, again, there's no easy answers, the only way for anyone to ever come up with any answer, even if they are not easy ones, is for us to be thinking about that and
think so? I have my doubts.
thinking about potential ways to stop it.
That place is a shithole.
It's got to start with somebody.
Don't be so nervous, Kaine.
And it might start with you, dear viewer. And I think that's kind of why, no spoilers for the other endings of this game, But, like, that's kind of why ending A and ending B feel a little bit empty of, there's these cycles of violence, and it just ends with, yeah, one more act of violence. This isn't new, right?
We do not desire needless conflict.
This is from Route B.
If we can continue to live with humans,
Then we can continue to live peacefully.
but that man will come. Yes.
I know he?
That man
You
will
mean
come.
him?
He will kill us all. What should we do?
I got me taken care of.
Oh,
Worry
you're
about
still...
protecting
We're
yourself.
still wrapping this one up.
Village. It's home to so many terrible little memories, isn't it, Kaine?
Like, that's why we've talked about Attack on Titan to fucking death here. But I think, in terms of there are no easy answers, I think there still is a beginning of an answer in someone has to start, right? And I think that's why, I mean, I guess Attack on Titan does include this, but a lot of Attack on Titan talks about the cycles of violence and how messed up it is. At the end of Season 3, in a legitimately good scene, that I really like, is you realize, oh, Eren has not learned the lesson. Eren does not realize that he has to take responsibility, and this is his chance to break the cycle. He is instead choosing to continue the cycle. And then Season 4 is just like, and isn't that messed up? Man, it sure sucks that Eren has to do that, or at least feels like he has to do that. And I guess part of the reason Season 4 bothered me so much is Season 4 just didn't... No, in the very, very end, it kind of gets to this point. But Season 4 feels like, in terms of where it puts the focus, very little of the focus is given to someone has to start. And, you know, at the very, very end kind of gets to that. But then even then, we get the after credit scene, and it's like, nope, that didn't work, actually. Nope, actually no. Which, like, fuck me, I guess. That's what bothers me about Attack on Titan, is it raises a really interesting question and theme about the cycles of violence, and is there any way to break it? And the takeaway is shrug, probably not, lol. And that sucks, dude. Can't it is I'm gonna get really cutesy here. I think it does not solely lie on like art. I don't think like one specific movie or book is going to come out that will finally bring world peace. But in a way, people who want to tell stories about those themes, I think, have some kind of responsibility to view those big questions and themes with the answer of, I definitely was not trying to kill that guy. That one was, I guess, was kind of on me, but that was just the end of a combo that he got caught up in the middle of. That one, that felt a little bit fucked up. I'm sorry.
A carnival of murder? I love it.
Kaine, the villagers are possessed.
A lot of fiction is about exploring what could be. And I think if you're telling a story about these kinds of themes, there is almost a responsibility to have in the story an element of maybe someday things could be better. They don't always have to get better, but I think there should be a theme of it could be better. And I guess, Attack on Titan does kind of have that, but the main story is it probably won't get better. And that sucks. And I much prefer stories that go, it's going to be really hard, and it's not always going to work, it's not always going to be perfect, it's going to be very difficult.
Get out of here!
But the right thing to do is still
I'm not going to abandon my
trying to break that cycle. You know what? I don't know. I'm diving in. I'm getting real into it, and a lot of this is out of pocket and off the cuff, and I haven't thought through a lot of this. This is not refined video essay, Flint. This is me racking off thoughts off the dome, Flint. So this probably isn't very articulate, but I don't know, it's a cool discussion. And again, you know, the game is about this, so
Stay back.
it's not coming out of nowhere, I don't think.
I don't care.
This ain't simple machine discourse where that just came out of the fuck nowhere for just no reason. That was the real hot takes. Back when we were talking about simple machine, whew, I'm relieved that I don't have to talk about, like, that's out of the way. I don't have to think about that anymore. All of the comments that are going to be like a trash fire, people getting super opinionated and hateful at me for my hot takes, are all going to be relegated to the Simple Machines video. Everyone in this comment section going to be super chill. And no one's going to have any thoughts that make anyone else feel, you know, conflicting feelings about complex topics. We took care of all that energy with the Simple Machine shit. And this is just a very straightforward thing that we all agree on, surely.
What madness. These people are behaving as if we are the villains.
In fact, I don't know why we keep bringing up these kinds of topics in, like, political debates, when really the way I vote is going to be dependent on what's your favorite Simple Machine. Like, that tells me everything I need to know about a person and their values. I don't know about you guys, but, like, that really needs to be priority number one on asking a candidate what their political platform is.
Kaine, get up! Hurry!
Oh, the little vixen has finally run out of steam. Is it my turn now? Are you sure about that, sunshine?
What's the most, because this is separate from tier lists, right? Although there might be some overlap here and there. Oh, Dazar, still picking up words. What's the most liberal and conservative Simple Machine, do we think? Because I brought up wheelchair ramps earlier, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to go, well, Inclined Plane's definitely got to be up there for one of the most liberal. But you all forget. Wheelchair ramps are like the one good thing Republicans have done for the past 30 years, because ADA was a H.W. Bush thing. That was like the only good thing that has come out of that administration, and set of administrations, you could even say. Ho ho! Yeah, getting our political thoughts out now. This is the political episode. In case that wasn't clear earlier, I'm going all in. But yeah, it can't. I don't think you can say Inclined Plane is liberal, even though it is reminiscent of accessibility. It is a specific brand of accessibility that, shocking to the shock of the audience, we have Republicans to thank for. So, but I don't think it's the most conservative Simple Machine either. I feel like Screw is pretty liberal. I think Screw is pretty liberal.
I blame you for all this.
Wedge is pretty Republican, right? I think we can agree on that. Wedge feels it's, you know, Wedge. Even if Wedge doesn't always vote Republican, they definitely have some out-of-pocket things about the queer community that make you go, "Oh no, buddy, that's not." You need to you need to educate yourself on that. So I feel like Wedge is up there. Wheel and Axel absolutely stands in the middle and votes present. They're the independent who are always trying to take a noble stand by just having no opinion at all, or not having. It's not that they don't have an opinion; it's that they just choose to do nothing about it. So, alright, so we got Wedge and Inclined Plane are still more conservative than liberal, but Inclined Plane is surprisingly based. Wait, is this new dialogue? Our world to remember? I remember we didn't get much dialogue out of this boss. I think we might have gotten that, and then there's, I don't think, really much else.
I feel something from within the bowl.
Wheel and Axle's in the middle, so is that... Hang on, that's 3. And we have... Okay, so hang on.
Is Is this the true power of the
There's
Shades?
Pulley. Dang it, now I miss. Oh, Lever. Of course. How could I forget Lever? I think I just kind of immediately assumed
First to Lever is the first to die.
liberal for Lever. But I don't think super liberal. I think Lever is like Pete Buttigieg level. You know, it's not revolutionary. But it leans liberal for sure. I think Screw might be the most
Wait, stop!
liberal.
I think those are people!
Yeah, Emil, we're having important discussions right now, okay? Which leaves, I guess Pulley is the only one I haven't really assigned anywhere yet, right?
The surrounding tentacles appear to deflect magic.
Pulley, I don't think really gets into politics that much. Pulley, I think, is one of those. It's separate from an independent voter. It's someone who goes, I don't know, that stuff doesn't really affect me, so I don't really get into it. Not knowing that politics affects us all. So, I think Pulley is just kind of ignorant of the political spectrum in general and just tries not to pay attention to it. Because Pulley's like, Pulley, A, has so much else going on in his life that it's like, I can't really focus on that. And then B is just like, I don't really want to harsh the vibes, guys. Even though by saying that, there is a certain kind of vibe that you're harshing. I think that's where Pulley lands. But yeah, I think Screw is the most liberal, and I won't be elaborating on that. I've never had a blooming onion. Sorry, this boss just reminded me of that. I've never had a blooming onion. In either sense of the word, but the one I want to talk about is the food. Is that good? People have that? Is that worth looking into? That's the thing where it's like it's a bunch of like little fried onion slices arranged in a cool floral pattern, right? That's what I'm thinking of. I think that's what that is. And I've seen pictures of them at in fucking Applebee's commercials.
Should be able to attack from behind. Go around.
And they looked pretty good.
Please, hurry.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know why I said we'll see very confidently, like I'm planning on having one in the very near future. God damn it. I might die to this thing. Probably not, but I might. I have enough stuff to spare. I don't know why I'm skimping on myself. Okay, I couldn't tell if that was enough to knock into the next thing.
Escaping to the inner level.
Can we make it? Yeah, oof, yeah.